The death of such a great Australian, a political legend in Bob Hawke, will be felt by all Australians. Yes, he was well known as the larrikin, the character with the political common touch that so few in the modern era can obtain, but there was so much more. The policy legacy of Bob Hawke will be remembered for a long, long time. Think about Medicare, think about compulsory superannuation, opening up the Australian economy by floating the dollar and deregulating the economy and removing so many tariffs. This was the transformational change that set Australia up for the decades of growth that have followed. His death does overshadow the final day of the election campaign. The two sides cannot pause campaigning. They might any other time, but given this is the final day of the election campaign, it must go on. But the two leaders have delivered quite moving tributes to Bob Hawke.
One thing I remember amongst many, it was Bob Hawke who changed our national anthem to say, "Australians all, let us rejoice." And tonight, while I'm sure I extend to the Labor movement and to Bill Shorten and his party my deep sympathies on behalf of our political movement, I think we can all say, as Australians all, that we rejoice in the life of Bob Hawke.
Bob Hawke loved Australia, and Australia loved Bob Hawke. But his legacy will endure forever. Bob Hawke changed Australia for the better.
Bill Shorten in particular sees himself in the mould of Bob Hawke, a former union leader who wants to be a consensus Prime Minister, not a captain's call leader, but someone who would collaborate with his cabinet. We've seen that during the campaign from Bill Shorten, surrounding himself constantly with some of his key personnel. He still has to get there on election day, and now within the Labor movement, the call will be, let's do it for Bob.